that was extremely powerful and practical, and absolutely riveting. We now have Yin-Chuen who is the managing editor of CommonWealth Magazine. Sorry, president, excuse me. Well, congratulations. Anyway, she's going to tell us about how to cover, her publication covered the sunflower movement on the ground in Taiwan. Thank you.
Well, thank you for having me. Well, I'm here to present some of the works we, the CommonWealth Magazine, 天下杂志, has done on the famous or infamous incident happened in Taiwan last year in spring, which is called sunflower movement. And why am I here? I believe you guys are more familiar with the umbrella movement, which is occupying Central, just talked about last September. But excuse me for saying so, umbrella movement is more or less a replica of the sunflower movement in many respects. However, since there are more foreign press reporters here, umbrella becomes better known to the world than the sunflower. Therefore, when SOPA editorial committee talked about the theme of this year's workshop should include the umbrella movement, I was compelled to impose myself and the defining incident of Taiwanese democracies on you, and demonstrate how we, the CommonWealth Magazine, the largest political biweekly in Taiwan, bi-weekly, okay, by every 2 weeks, since 1981, handled such eruptive news volcanoes in our paper 2 weeks after the incident first occurred, and 2 weeks after so many web news flooded in the market. What do we do? Decide to do or not to do? Thank you. Good. As I mentioned before, I don't know whether you're familiar with the sunflower movement. So before we go into the news handling part of my talk, please allow me to talk to you through very quickly the beginning to the end of the incident. Sorry? Allow. Oh, sorry. I wasn't looking. Yeah. Very quickly, from the beginning to the end of the incident. I think this is the least good news media can and should do before we pass any judgments over the facts. The incident started in the Legislative Yuan, which is an equivalent to the parliament in the West. And on March 17, presiding chair of the Parliament Internal Administrative Committee, KMT legislator Zhang Qinzhong, said that the cross-strait service trade agreement with China had to be adopted in its entirety and could not be amended. And then he asked the committee to pass the package deal in 30 seconds, half a minute. So students, activists outside the parliament protested the passing of the pact without clause-by-clause review. And this is labeled as the anti-black box decision-making activism, which means what? Transparency movement anyways. So that was 17th. And the next day, on the March 18th, around 9 p.m. at night, and 300 students and academics and NGOs and other protesters climbed over the fence at the parliament and entered the building. One window was smashed and a police officer seriously injured. The protesters demanded that the clause-by-clause review of the agreement be reinstated. Otherwise, they will occupy the space until March the 21st, when the parliament had scheduled to vote and pass the CSSTA again. Until then, Taiwanese press got all excited. Why? A pack of young students occupying the government office, an actual office, threatening the old guys to do whatever they demanded. This is very new to us. Well, students have occupied streets or plazas before, but they've never taken over a government office. This is what the Hong Kong students tried later on, but haven't succeeded. And 2 days later, March 20th, Parliament Speaker Wang Jinping promised not to use force on the protesters. He's not going to do anything about the occupation, his occupied office. Actually, this incident happened at the most inconvenient time for us, for CommonWealth. CommonWealth just published our new issue in March the 18th, and we had to wait another 2 weeks to publish our next issue in print. However, we run a website which owns 13 million page view per month. So therefore, we started to post web-only news stories written by our reporters on a daily basis. But the most successful exercise is on the blog segment of our website, which is 独立评论 at 天下, independent comments at CommonWealth Magazine, which we started in late 2013. People were eager to hear different analysis of the incident, and they were looking for media they trust. And the blog site of ours got all-time high page view instantly, 2.5 million in 2 weeks, and made its mark amongst Chinese media. The news editor who's responsible for this blog site, He Rongxin anyways, got frequent visitors from Hong Kong or even from mainland China who wants to know how to run a successful opinion website later that year. The next day, on March the 21st, Speaker Wang refused to meet with President Ma Ying-jeou and Premier Zhang Yihua for response, stating that the president should listen to the people and that a compromise was needed. He refused to handle the occupation of his office, and he's blaming the president for people's reaction. But all these times, protesters locked themselves in a building, and which is the parliament's main chamber. And they organized young guards at the gate to fend off any visitors except media. So therefore, we were able to watch those students lying on the floor, rationing food and all the materials flooded in from all over the island. This reality show immediately created stars among them. You got Lin Feifan on the left and Chen Weiting on the right are two biggest stars in front of the camera. And students start their own media on the spot using slippers, students wearing slippers, holding iPads to send out official newsletters through Ustreams to student social network every day to outside world. And they were using chatting software on software like the Line. We don't use Tweet, we use Line too. And they're setting up their official fans group on cell phone, and instantly getting hundreds of thousands of fans joining in to watch their official news. Traditional media like us was chasing behind the news, after news, behind actually. That's exactly why our blog site, 独立评论 at 天下 was more popular than the news stories we wrote during that time. And this is another inconvenient truth for us. And we had to decide what goes into our printed version eventually. March 22nd, Premier Jiang met with students outside the occupied parliament who refused to drop the service trade pact with China. This is civic talk, I consider, at its highest form. Student leaders talking to the head of government unchoreographed, it's not choreographed, talk in front of the TV camera. And every citizen listened attentively, though the dialogue was hardly heard due to the uproar from the crowd. But I'm respectful that there was no shooting or clubbing or battling, despite the intensity you can see the meeting. And on March 23rd, President Ma restated his resolve in passing the Service Pact and affirmed he did not act according to the orders from Beijing. And in response to President's talk, students led by Wei Yang stormed and tried to occupy the Executive Yuan, which is equivalent to the Prime Minister's office in the West. And they were later evicted in the morning, next morning, and this is a clear split amongst the students. Small fractions of the protesters wanted stronger action to cohere or to sustain the group's unity. It worked in a sense that they conjure more outsiders on the streets who were angry at each other, but had nothing to do with the original theme of the protest. March 24th, evicted students congregated on the streets not far away from the parliament. 1,000 riot police spent 10 hours evicting the streets using water cannons and baton strikes on protesters. Journalists and medics were ordered to leave the site, and more than 150 people were injured and 61 arrested. March 25th, President Ma invited student leaders to his office for a dialogue over the trade agreement without any preconditions. Student leaders Lin Feifan, the one you just saw, accepted the invitation initially and agreed no preconditions should be set for the meeting. But the next day, March the 26th, the protest leaders rebuffed the invitation to meet. Instead, on March 27th, Lin Feifan called for March 30th rally of the citizens in front of the presidential office to show civic support for their cause. 2 days later, March the 30th, around 116,000 people and 22 NGOs rallied around the presidential office, dressed in black to show their support. It was peaceful. People come in 10 o'clock, 10 a.m. in the morning, and they left exactly at 7:45 in the afternoon. They just wanted to show support, and everyone is careful not to provoke anybody else. I saw some young demonstrators left the rally and walked on the streets they very gaily, as if they were just coming out of a carnival. The occupation persisted another week. And on April 6th, Parliament Speaker Wang finally visited his occupied office and promised to postpone a review of the Service Trade Pact until the Parliament re-examined all the cross-trade agreement with China. The very next day, after he went there, the very next day, April the 7th, the protesters say they will vacate the parliament in April 10th, and they did. 585 hours of occupation of the parliament ended. 1 year later, May in 2015, 39 protesters were charged with trespassing for their role in the occupation of the executive yuan. And well, sorry for the long story, but I think just to talk you through the whole incident will construct a clearer context for you to see our predicaments in handling eruptive news like this. As you can clearly see now, the original reporting job is taken over by new technology and channel. And if we're going to survive, we have to find other niches of public interest in news. Therefore, this is the final handling of the sunflower movement we decided to present to our readers. We are calling for reconciliation, as you can see. We are displaying views from all over the island for viewers to see each other. It is a compulsory education, I would say, really. We are actually imposing different dialogue, ideologue even, or arguments on our readers to listen to each other that they were reluctant to listen in the past 2 weeks. This is a hard decision. We were called chicken, and we were announced as trying to please everyone. Really. But you have to make the difficult decision not to fester the polarized extremism, despite it might make you look cool or look good to the majority or the minority in the society. And this is what we did, using our pages, again, to display a whole spectrum of ideas to our readers to contemplate on the real essence of the incident. It is not the best-selling cover for us last year, but looking back today, I still think it is the right choice of approach on our paper. And detecting the real anxiety of the society about the cross-strait service trade with China, we sent immediately. We sent reporters almost instantly to South Korea to find out how the economy is coping with South Korean government's aggressive signing of free trade agreements with the world. And 1 month later, we published the findings on this cover story, The Truth of FTA, Free Trade Agreement, in April last year, which won us a lot of awards. Finally, we combined the two cover stories into one long-form specials on our website as a documentation of the sunflower. As a documentation of the sunflower movement that CommonWealth Magazine want Taiwanese to remember. It is a concise and comprehensive documentation of history and the theme behind it. We learned that news on the web can have perpetual values too. We aggregate our instant news stories and all the follow-up and analysis. And the new reports is the one cover story one cover story that we did 1 month later. These long specials can give readers a clearer perspective of the incident rather than the fragmented messages students share on their cell phones. I think this is a winning form of news in the future for traditional media like us. And the incident not only teaches Taiwanese politicians a thing or two, but also knock on the head of traditional media like us. several lessons learned. First, the attitude towards the youth changed. We take them, well, people around me actually, take them more seriously. People my age found that the young people may not be the strawberries that's easy to crush. They are weeds that can grow anywhere and utilize limited resource to bring about change to things they really care about, the things they care about anyways. Secondly, traditional media has to change the way we operate. Actually, the business result of Taiwanese media resonate this finding. The ad revenue of print media in the first season of 2015 in Taiwan dropped 21%, almost a quarter of the total. And CommonWealth Magazine is doing relatively better than us, but we are expecting worse scenario in the coming season. Actually, we started a full-fledged remodel of our website at the end of last year and trying to integrate the print and the web into one newsroom. Painful? Yes, very painful. But the result seems pretty good. Let's have a look. Although 40% of our content is focused on international and the future news, the Alexa ranking of our website moved from 95 in January to 63 in April. Which attracted 2 million more new non-repeated visitors in the first season. And our daily newsletter, we pushed since January, actually started in January, got 13,000 direct subscribers already, which divert our reliance on the Facebook, which is a very dangerous thing for us. And 30% of the subscribers open our newspapers and read us daily. And this June, we pushed the remodel website, and it's been 1 week now since June the 1st. And the time spent reading on our remodel website grew like 63.5% than the previous month, than May. So meaning that they stick here longer than before. Coming back to the lesson. Another thing we noticed is more independent news media is coming out. I don't know whether you're familiar with Taiwanese scenario, like Watch Out, 卧槽, or Mega, or others, small media. Young people are eager to start their own media recently in Taiwan. This is the first year journalism schools in Taiwan got applications like crazy. 100 open vacancies, but we attracted like 3,000 applicants. So this is very new too. So the third lesson for traditional media like us, trust is the key to the future for traditional media. Competing with the quick and ubiquitous new media, I think every traditional media is talking and preaching about this cliche. However, how to maintain the trust of the societies takes great restraint and the sense of responsibility of the media. So responsible journalism probably is a very good new subject that professors in journalism school can think about. And I believe this is the lesson for any political entity in the future. Lastly, I think the sunflower movement teaches me the greatest lessons of weeds can change the world. well, I'm not talking about the weed, marijuana, that Jackie Chan's son inhaled last August. I'm talking about the young protesters instigated a small riot in Taipei, which didn't get as much international coverage as the Arab Spring or the Umbrella Movement in Hong Kong. However, it has resonated around the world using its own channel amongst the youth. This is an eye-opening scenario for me, so trust me, globalization is not such a bad thing after all. So, thank you very much for your time and patience, and I hope my sharing can be of some significance to you in your future career as a journalist. And if you're interested, in about Taiwan student movement, I brought along with me 4 books written by our blog editor He Rongxing, 学运世代，从野百合到太阳花 in Taiwan. If you leave your name and contact information, I'll gladly give it to you as a present to you. Thank you all very much.
Any questions for Yin-Chuen?
I want to know about how to manage the reporters. They have to write daily for the website, as well as lengthy report for the magazine. I'm also working for a magazine, and I know writing for a magazine can be very time-consuming. I'm wondering, are the people writing for a magazine and the website the same people?
Yes.
How do you manage them? Do they have enough time to, you know?
That's a very painful question that we're facing right now. The lady behind you the lady in orange might give you a better answer than me, but it is painful, and we have to reschedule things. We have a weekly sheet of stories that we want to do, and we set them into groups so that each group, what do you call, section, sort of like sections in newsroom will be responsible for each day's news. So they are sort of rationed to do the stories. And who is doing that? Well, the journalist who has bad luck, perhaps, or who's having very good stories to tell. So these are we are still looking for a better balanced way of doing it right now. So I will say, as I was saying, it was very painful still these days in our newsroom. Any other question?
You just mentioned that traditional media facing a challenge, and you said.
Can you speak louder? I can't.
Okay, I said you mentioned the traditional media is facing challenge, and you said the trust is key. Could you explain that? What do you mean trust is key? You trust the audience, the readers, or trust
Readers trust into the media. Like those new media I talked about that just started. They look very active and it attracts a lot of traffic originally from the very beginning. But very very fast, if people don't trust them, or then they won't go back. So this is what I think, that's why you're here listening to the Wall Street Journal or the New York Times. These are some of the things that you trust. When things happen, you want to listen to what they will say about the incident. So that's this major thing. But we have to admit, people are getting news from all kinds of different sources. So these new media can be very challenging for us. Yes, credibility. Sorry, maybe I'm using the wrong credibility. Yes. Any other thing?
How did you handle the charge that you were chicken, that effectively you weren't taking sides? Did you step out editorially in response to that, or just ignore it?
No, we don't respond to that. No. Yeah.
All right, that's Yin-Chuen.
Thank you.